Hello again, everybody. Happy 2024 to all of you out there. This is Double Play CLE here on Believe Land Media LLC. All here alongside Jay and Jeff. Yes, I didn't give you each a special intro. I just decided to lump you into one nice package that we call Double Play CLE. Speaking of incredible things that happened in 2023, let's talk about your playoff-bound Cleveland Browns, who are going to face the Houston Texans this Saturday in Houston in the first game of Super Wildcard Weekend. Boys?
First and foremost, before we get started here, I'd also like to lump in that the 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers have also found a way into the playoffs.
Thank you for saying it that way, because you guys damn sure do not deserve to freaking be there.
We found a way. That's all that matters. We got into the tournament. We got into the dance. That's all that matters.
That's what sucks most about this, is like once you get in, it's all back to 0-0. And everybody's got a clean slate.
And here's the thing, too, is it's also, and this is a big thing when it comes to, like, with baseball. Baseball, I think, is the biggest thing where if you get hot at the right time, you can be dangerous. The Pittsburgh Steelers are getting hot. They've gotten hot at the right time. 2 of the last 3 games, they scored over 30 points. And then, obviously, you only scored 17 against the Baltimore team. That, yes, I understand that backups. I totally get it. Baltimore and Pittsburgh games are never high scoring. They're almost never high scoring. They're always going to be close one-score games. And came out, shout out to the Tennessee Titans, by the way. Appreciate y'all.
Are you done? Holy hell.
Oh, I could keep going.
This is a Cleveland podcast where we talk about the Cleveland teams.
Heel here, okay?
For your life? Because, like, that's your role in our friendship, too, I guess.
I am just a natural-born heel.
No, the man to my right is a natural-born heel, and that is the quote-unquote head of the table. Jay, your thoughts on the Browns in 2023 heading into the 2024 NFL wildcard?
I mean, my thoughts haven't changed since like last week or the week before, considering we didn't really play like an actual game this week.
And that's important to note. We're not going to talk about the Browns-Bengals game. That game doesn't even matter. So it was plainly obvious.
There's one reason why it matters, and it's a kind of a cool thing, is because with the Bengals winning, it's the first time since the mid-1930s all 4 teams in one division ended above 500, which
1933 actually.
Which goes to show, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, at least I have, about how this division is by far the toughest in football. It's the best in football. And that right there shows it, because when you have all 4 teams go over 500 with all, if I'm not mistaken, Baltimore was the only team that didn't have their quarterback hurt at all during the season, where they were able to play Lamar all year long outside of this last week. Cleveland, you guys have had 5 different quarterbacks or 4 different quarterbacks, whatever it was. Pittsburgh, we've had to play 3. Cincinnati, they've played a couple. So it's like it's insane with how good this this AFC North is.
And keep in mind, for the Browns, as they're heading into Houston for the second time this season, it's going to be a little different than it was on Christmas Eve. No C.J. Stroud back then. Also have to wonder about Amari Cooper's status. That was the game where he had his team record as a wide receiver. There's going to be a lot of questions going into this game, not just for the Browns, but for the Houston Texans, and also for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had this thing pretty much locked down until they completely choked against the Tennessee Titans.
Well, they've choked overall down the stretch. It's insane with where they were at one point of time. I'm looking here. I'm pulling up. So when they beat, so they went on a nice low win streak, or they went on a low couple game win streak, won 3 of 4, and they were looking really good. On November 26th, they were 8-3, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. Since then, they lost to Cincinnati, lost to Cleveland, lost to the Ravens, lost to the Buccaneers. They were able to beat the Carolina Panthers, and then lost to the Titans. So down the stretch, from practically Thanksgiving on, they've won 1 game. So yeah, down the stretch, they completely fell apart. Now, obviously, you have to take into consideration Christian Kirk was out. Trevor Lawrence, he wasn't healthy with some of that time dealing with the ankle and all kinds of other stuff. But overall, to have a collapse like that, that's interesting to see. And now with Trevor Lawrence coming, now I know we're turning this into a whole different conversation, but I'll say this real quick. Now with Trevor Lawrence, he's after his 3rd year. They're gonna figure out whether they're gonna pick up his 5th year option. They will, and then we're gonna start getting into contract talks with anytime now with Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they'll handle that, because some people believe that he's not the guy for there. So we shall see.
I mean, that's a fair statement and a fair argument to make, and we'll get to that maybe in just a little bit. But let's focus on Browns Texans here for a minute, because this is going to set the tone for not just the Browns postseason, but for the entire NFL postseason. First game out of the chutes on NBC on Saturday. What is it going to take for the Browns to make a deep playoff run here in 2024?
For our defense to stay stout, I definitely think so. And allow the offense to flow smoothly. Not caught. I don't think there's much more to that, to be honest. I think we just need to play the same defense we've been playing.
Yeah, I think for you guys, for the Browns, I agree with Jay 100%. Defense needs to continue to play well. Myles Garrett needs to, I don't even want to say take it to another level, because his level's already at the top, but you want to see what he's going to do in the playoffs. It's the 2nd time in his career he's going to make the playoffs. And I'm not even saying this as a troll. I legitimately don't remember him in the playoffs in 2020. I don't remember what he did. And that's not like me talking shit. He might have went out there and played great. I really don't remember. But obviously now 2023, 2024, you go out there, ball out, along with Zadarius Smith, who I know he got hurt at one point. So I don't know what the status of his is. But overall, the defense continues to play stout. Like, as what Jay said, Joe Flacco, he's been there time and time again. They say nothing new to him. That's really about it. If you could sustain any sort of running attack against Houston, then you guys will be in good shape.
Which, I mean, we have all year, so it shouldn't be that hard.
So
I was just looking up the stat on Myles Garrett, and just in that Browns-Steelers 2020 playoff game, he really didn't do anything. He had 1 tackle.
Okay.
In a game where we won 48-37.
Because we lost that game, so obviously that wasn't going to be me talking shit. I legitimately just don't remember.
No, you were spot on that. It was actually MJ Stewart who was the star on defense for Cleveland in that game with 10 tacks and a fumble.
Yeah, that game is way out of my memory. I've eliminated that game completely from my memory. which I try to, but I have friends who will literally not allow me to forget.
You have a lot of friends who will not let you live that game down. A lot.
Specifically, I have about 5 who do not let me forget it ever. But yeah, overall, it's just a matter of getting the defense going again. And I think the biggest thing too is with the Houston Texans, their wide receiver core, they have Nico Collins, who has been, from the University of Michigan, sadly. He's been their main guy. And I don't necessarily trust Houston's receiving core all that well. Nico Collins had 1,200 yards. The next guy was Tank Dell, who's a rookie, who's out for the year because he got hurt a little while ago. After that is Dalton Schultz. So right now you're kind of looking at Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, Robert Woods. I mean, it's not the best wide receiver core in the world. So with the Browns having 3 guys, and obviously Denzel, Martin Emerson, and Greg Newsome, if you're able to lock up Nico Collins, you might be able to make life hell for CJ Stroud.
Just a quick addition to that Myles Garrett stat. In his second playoff game, which would have been the following week in Kansas City, a sack and 2 tackles. So in 3 playoff games, 3 tackles and a sack for the guy who
two games.
In 2 games, sorry, thank you. For the guy that many claim should be the defensive player of the year.
Well,
yeah, and that's a different argument for a different time. You got to stand up when it comes to the playoffs.
Well, when it comes to the defensive player of the year, that it's done. Now, playoffs, you're not going to be able to change anything when it comes to the playoffs. You're going to base it on, and obviously we're going to, I mean, when I say we may not get into it, right here in this platform, but it's going to typically be, I'm a Steeler fan. I'm going to say TJ Watt. Browns fans are going to typically say Myles Garrett. I understand it. But at the end of the day, we'll end up having to see what happens at the NFL honors.
Yep.
The two top contenders for the Defensive Player of the Year award are in the AFC North, which
and you can make
every team
should be able to add in the third. You can make an argument that if you wanted to possibly want to add in Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati, you could possibly do that too.
So you're talking the top 3 potential candidates for that award
coming
out of the same division.
You can make. I would say 3 of 5. 3 of 5. Guys that you would want to really put in that argument would be TJ, Myles, Trey Hendrickson, and this is in no order. Micah Parsons and Max Crosby, which I don't. I mean, you could just throw him in there, but he's not really going to be the guy. So in reality, it's really the top 3 is Micah, TJ, and Myles.
Fair. So, Joe Flacco, is he the real deal?
I think we're about to find out. I mean, I don't know how many more games we need out of him. I mean, the dude's been absolutely on fire, so it sure seems like it, especially considering our O-line is all beat up and shit too. So I don't know. God bless. How do I only have 3 passwords for stuff and I can never remember them?
Add an exclamation mark. That's what I do.
Yeah, well, it's when you do something and they're like, oh, you got to have the Batman symbol, 3 Qs, an exclamation point,
Peter Griffin,
an uppercase and a lowercase. Sorry, getting off topic there. I really don't think it's about Joe Flacco. I really think it's about the defense, like I said. I think if we and also like Jeff said, if we can lean on Ford like we have been, I think we'll be all right. That's another thing that I think people tend to overlook it's just because I don't know, maybe if it's just because it's just football, like that's normal football stuff. But our run game hasn't really faltered too much after losing Nick Chubb. It hasn't been as good as it once was, but Jerome Ford has done a pretty damn good job of filling in that hole. And Kareem Hunt's really good as like our third down back and our red zone back. So I think Kareem Hunt's I know he's got more than like 2-3 touchdowns on the season for only having so many snaps in a game per game. But, you have that, which allows Joe Flacco to run the plays, run the trick plays, what really sucks is losing DTR, because DTR was a good, he was our 2-point guy. We were using him just on like some BS plays, and it's like, well, I'm sure there's plenty of arguments if you don't need that and stuff like that, which I get, but it definitely helps throw defenses off. So, we'll see. I guess we'll see. We'll see. We'll see in a week. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's at 4:30, which means me as an overnight person will be able to watch the whole game. So I'm excited about that.
At least.
Meanwhile, I'll be at work.
I was gonna say, at least it's not on Saturday at 8, whatever it is, and be on the cock. So.
Yeah, that.
Technically, it will be on Peacock as well, because you can stream the game that way.
It will not be exclusively on the cock.
Sidebar: I am over switching between frickin' Prime Video and Peacock and CBS and oh my gosh!
Sorry to break it to you. It's only going to get worse.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just complaining about it.
You think it was an accident that they put the Kansas City game on Peacock exclusively? When you've got Swifties that are going to be tuning in to support their girl, Tay-Tay, as well as Travis Kelce?
What does that have to do with Peacock?
No.
You're going to get those extra subscription dollars.
I'm actually not mad at that take, because you want to find a way to make a little bit of money. There you go. For anyone who doesn't have Peacock.
Is this just me?
It might be just.
What do you mean it's just you?
I hear it sounds like someone's taking a major poop.
Oh.
Well, he is in a lazy boy. Good stuff.
No one else hears that?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. Maybe it is just me.
It must be you dreaming about what you're going to do here after the show.
Was just looking at the postseason stats for Joe Flacco. While he made an appearance in 2018, his last in-game playoff game was in 2014, all with Baltimore. His career stats in 15 games, 253 for 447 with a 56.6% completion, over 3,000 yards with an average of 7, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a long of 70. Not bad if we can get some variation of that Joe Flacco this Saturday.
If you get anything remnants of that 2013 Joe Flacco that won them the Super Bowl, where in that playoff run he was just absolutely godly, you might be onto something. But you know what? I do want to ask this for you guys, the Browns fans, and anyone who's possibly watching this. Please drop a comment on this down below. When it comes to the quarterback situation, I know I'm going a little bit ahead of here, but when you get into the 2024 season, I understand that Joe Flacco's 38, 39 years old, but the way that he has played, and we all know that eventually Deshaun Watson's going to be the guy in 2024. As much as a lot of people hate to say it, they all know it. And you'd say, all right, well, why not try to get the Browns to bring back Joe Flacco? Yeah, it's a great idea. I think they'll definitely try to make an attempt. But if you get a team that's a QB-needy team, that will be willing to pay him a decent amount more than the Cleveland Browns, you might have him gone.
You think that's going to happen, though? I mean, he was just sitting there for the taking before, and I know you're going to say, and I know you're going to say, I know what you're going to say, like he came out and he proved himself and he's looking great and stuff like that. But I mean, He proved himself before. He's a freaking championship quarterback. Anyone else could have grabbed him too. Like, yeah. I don't think he shines that much. I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I just don't think he shines that much to other teams, especially if they're needy. Don't they want to build not around a 38, 39-year-old?
Yeah, but if there's a guy that here's what I'd say too. If you get a team that would, like, say if you are going to get a young guy, for example, a team, I'll just throw out a random team. I'll say Washington, for example. They got the second pick. They're going to probably go after a quarterback, whether it's Jane Daniels or Drake May, one of the two. If you wanted to get him as a bridge guy or as even just a role model backup, I think Washington would be willing to pay a decent amount of money if they want to go with someone like that over, someone like Brissett. Or what about Atlanta? I think Atlanta's a weird team that they went out and drafted Desmond Ridder like the third round. I don't really think he's
Atlanta is a weird team, yes.
You said what?
Atlanta is a weird team, yes.
And who, by the way, fun fact, are drafting 8th overall for the third straight year. That's a fun fact.
I found that fun.
Atlanta, like I would. There's only like a handful of teams that I really think would suck to be more of a fan of than the Browns, and Atlanta is definitely one of them.
Yeah, Atlanta is. It was
like the only thing worse, absolutely positively worse than never making it to the Super Bowl is making it to the Super Bowl and going up by, what was it, 2-3 possessions and losing. Like, I just
28-3.
Yeah, I that's terrible.
Speaking of the Falcons, they were the first team being a part of Black Monday as they had fired head coach Arthur Smith, who went 21-30 in 3 years. And his last memory of being an Atlanta Falcon head coach was completely going off on Dennis Allen. Rightfully, probably so. I don't blame Arthur Smith for going off on Dennis Allen, but that's here nor there. He got canned. By the time we all wake up in the morning, we're also going to have other guys be fired. I would project possibly Ron Rivera is going to be gone. I don't think we're going to get any news on Bill Belichick today, technically. I think that might come here in the next couple of days. So you have that. I'm trying to think of who else could possibly go and be a part of.
I'm telling you guys, I'm sticking with my hot take. I think Belichick retires before Kraft can fire him.
I mean, that's a smart. I don't see why you wouldn't do that.
Like, what does he have to? What does Bill Belichick have to prove in the NFL? He is definitely going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's got.
Here, I'm going to say this. I think he'd rather be fired because if you retire, it's like you're done. If he gets fired, he could go somewhere else. He wants that coaching record. So I think.
Where else do you want to go if you're him?
Denver.
No, I'd say
Cleveland.
No, we're talking contract extension for our guy. Stefanski's going to be here for a while.
Stefanski again? I'm sorry, I can't tell. The Browns fan base is so fucking, what's that word? Fickle?
Yes, fickle.
Very, very fickle. Can't tell if we like it, we don't.
I was one of his least supportive fans, and even I have to admit, you took 5 different quarterbacks and created a 11-6 season that got you to the playoffs. That's impressive.
Don't say 5 though.
Driscoll counts.
No, he doesn't. He lost. So obviously he didn't do whatever.
He play a game in the season.
Okay, but you're saying he took 5 core. He didn't take. No.
Well, he didn't take 4.5. It's not like the guy was only 3 feet tall.
You're right. He took 4 because the 5th one didn't do anything.
It fits his agenda, so that's what he'll do. And you know what, though? That's what Browns fans will do to try and fit their agenda that he should be the coach of the year, which it should honestly, the only 2 coaches that it should be the coach of the year is either him or DeMeco Ryans. You can make the argument for both. I wouldn't be mad if it's either. I think one thing is you can make obviously, if you want to say he took 5 quarterbacks, even though in Jay's case it's really only 4. had 4 quarterbacks, had all these injuries, still made it to the playoffs. And then you can say D'Amico Ryans, they were like 3-13-1 or whatever the hell their record was in 2022. Rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, went out there, made the playoffs, won the division. So you can make the argument for either or. Me personally, I low-key think that they would end up giving it to – me personally, I low-key feel like they're going to give it to D'Amico Ryans. Only because – and this is a stupid thing.
They put it on the line for the game. Whoever wins the game gets coach of the year.
But the one reason why I think they'll give it to D'Amico Ryans, and this is a stupid argument, but we all know how this goes, it's because Kevin Stefanski's won it already.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, but it's not back. It's not back to back. They only care about that when it's going to be like a 3-peat or back to back.
I don't know. I just got this gut feeling that it'll end up being D'Amico Ryans, and I wouldn't be mad. And me being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I wouldn't be mad if Stefanski won it at all. And like I said, it should either be one of those.
You're going to be a lot more mad when Myles Garrett wins Defensive Player of the Year. I can tell you.
There you go.
I'm not even arguing with you. I'm telling you that they're going to pick him this year, and the Steelers fans are going to be fucking pissed off.
Here's what I will say: if they give it to Myles Garrett, it's because the media and the writers, they all determined he was going to win it this year. He stayed healthy, so they're going to give it to him.
I mean, it's hard. Someone made a good point that I honestly liked, and they were like, he's anchoring the best defense in the NFL right now.
Yeah, you can't argue that.
You can't argue that. So I mean, like,
here's how you can argue that though, is because Myles Garrett, while yes, he is great, you also have to look at the context of the guys around him. Dude has probably back there maybe the best cornerback trio in the NFL, which that right there says a lot. You have an interior defensive line who has been pretty damn good in itself. TJ Watt, if it's you have TJ Watt, and we've seen on so many occasions when it's TJ Watt is the defense.
So who's these other great linemen that are with Myles Garrett?
You have Dalvin Tomlinson, who has been by far one of the best run stuffers in all of the NFL. Zadarius Smith, who may statistically, and I'm adding context, statistically may have not shown to be one of the better guys because he only had like maybe 5.5 sacks or whatever. But overall, when you actually watch the games, he was very impactful. So that right there is 3/4 of your defensive line right there.
These guys are household names like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby.
Zadarius Smith is definitely a household name.
I, as a Browns fan, would very much disagree with that.
I promise you, because I'm pretty sure he's a former multiple-time Pro Bowler as well, if I'm not mistaken.
So the guy that's a household name, you don't even know if he's a Pro Bowler or not?
Zadarius Smith. Well, he was also in the NFC, so I really didn't give a damn about that.
So he's not a household name. That's my whole point.
But at least I'm telling you, everyone knows who Zadarius Smith is. If you are a decent NFL fan, you know who Zadarius Smith is.
But that's I'm not talking about a decent NFL fan. I'm talking about
a full-time Pro Bowler, as I stood correct.
What if you're a Swiftie? Do you know about him if you're a Swiftie?
Well, then you should get the hell out of watching football.
We at Cleveland Media do not support the
Luckily, I'm just a guest, so
we're not picking up that contract option. I'll tell you that much. So
that's me being the heel again.
The NFL Super Wildcard Weekend will kick off with Browns Texans, but Miami Dolphins head to Kansas City for the Saturday night game exclusively on Peacock. That'll be at 8:00. Sunday, it's a triple header starting at 1:00 with the Steelers at Buffalo. The 4:30 game, the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys, wraps up with the Sunday night game, Los Angeles Rams at Detroit. It'll be the first time in the history of Ford Field that it has hosted a playoff game, and the first time the Lions have hosted a playoff game since 1993. And then the whole weekend wraps up on Monday Night Football. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. Which one of these games is the one that you're going to be paying attention to other than the Cleveland game, of course, and other than the Pittsburgh game, of course, Jeff?
By far, the easiest game by far to me Rams-Lions. Rams-Lions.
Yeah.
Rams-Lions is by far. Matthew Stafford gets to go back to Detroit and play in a playoff game against Detroit in Detroit. That game is just going to be – that game's going to be very fun to watch.
Sunday night game, too.
I'm curious to see what Baker's going to do. The evil bastard in me is hoping that he wins and the Browns lose. And I could just watch all fire and brimstone just set sail.
You look at what the Eagles have done recently versus what the Bucs have done recently. On paper, this looks like a much more favorable matchup for Tampa Bay than it really should be.
Philadelphia is a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Which is crazy considering Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown just got hurt.
Yes, that's something you're going to have to monitor. I would say Jalen Hurts is going to be fine. I think he'll end up playing. I'm not really concerned about him. A.J. Brown, though, I am going to be curious to see if he's going to play. And he's a big part of their offense. So that's going to be curious. I'm curious to see about that. Dallas at home against Green Bay, I think it's going to be an interesting game because while Dallas has been phenomenal on the road, they have not lost a home game this year. And Green Bay is not a bad team at all. I mean, they're 9-8. They had to win and get in today. But Jordan Love down the stretch has been playing very good football for that team. I'm very curious. That's a game I'm really interested in. And then Dolphins Chiefs. I mean, yeah, the weather's going to be completely shitty in Kansas City. It is going to be god awful. You would think that game would be really fun to watch. It still might be. Between that game and that'd probably be the game that I'm not. I'd be the quote unquote least excited about.
Imagine being a Dolphins fan right now. You were sitting comfortably in the 2 seed for much of the last 3, 4, 5 weeks,
maybe don't be
of the regular season, only to fall out of, not only to just fall out of the division, but you fall to almost out of the postseason entirely. And if it weren't for a few things going very favorably, almost out of the playoffs entirely.
Yeah,
today.
I thought they were out. Like when they were doing something, I was like, oh, I thought they were out. I was like, oh, that sucks.
No, that was what the one team that was the case for was obviously, and we talked about them earlier, the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, by the way, the terrible towel curse continues again. So, hey, Jacksonville.
I mean, that's not true because the Browns guy wiped his ass with it, but we're not going to talk about that one. Huh?
You guys will get handled next.
Baby,
here we go.
We're in the playoffs. I don't.
Old Red Shroud. Here we go.
I noticed that someone said that they were like the terrible towel curse. I was like, no one's going to talk about how our one dude wiped his ass with it.
There's been so many occasions where people have messed with the towel, and then their whole season just goes straight to hell.
Yeah,
and then there's the Pittsburgh Steelers who have been dealing with that towel, and it's gone straight to hell.
Our curse was we had to deal with Matt Country up north.
Canada.
The Madden curse and this curse and DeMar Hamlin's somehow going to get Player of the Year.
Yeah,
Look, if you're asking me, it should be Flacco. Dude came off his couch and literally just balled out for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I don't think they're going to actually give it to Hamlin, considering I see a lot of people saying that. Not that what people say matters, but I see a lot of people saying you got to give it to someone who's actually played football. Like, otherwise, what's the point of the award?
Happy for DeMar Hamlin that he is recovering and he is getting back to normal and he's good.
You want to
man, he hasn't done anything.
You want to congratulate him? Pay his hospital bills.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like maybe. Well, they have insurance. Or like the NFL has
you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like.
I think.
I almost feel like I wouldn't want that award if I was him. What did I do to deserve this?
That's a good question, and the only person who can answer that question is Damar Hamlin himself. But realistically, he doesn't have the stats to back up the awards. So if you give it to him, you're giving it to him simply because of that.
Played like 3 snaps the whole entire season.
Exactly. Look, I am not going to sit here and tell you that I'm against him getting some sort of recognition at the award show for getting back on the field.
I'll be the first one to say
he should not get the award.
I'll be the first one to say it, and I don't feel bad about saying that. I'm happy that a fellow human being didn't die. That's great. But I don't understand. Go recognize the people who fucking saved him. I don't understand what we're doing here. I really don't. I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad he made a recovery. A, why are we still talking about it? You think he wants to get this brought up constantly about how he almost died? And then B, what are we we're beating a dead horse. What are we doing here? I don't.
You know how this goes, though. They're going to beat the dead horse into even more death.
I understand.
I would just like to point out that the phrase dead horse might not be the best choice of words here.
I just don't.
I don't care.
I don't understand why. I don't understand what the point is.
We talked about it in our group chat earlier today. It's all about protect the shield. That is what the NFL is, and it will do whatever it has to make sure that the shield looks good. Having a player die on the field does not protect the shield. So anything that makes it look better, you can imagine that the NFL will want to.
That's my whole motherfucking point. So stop bringing it up. What?
They're not going to. It's historic. It hadn't happened in what?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's only been maybe 2 incidents of a player swinging his helmet at another player. Why don't they talk about that a lot? Why don't they bring up Myles Garrett swinging his helmet on Mason Rudolph? Oh, because it's a terrible incident. So what? Why would you bring any of that up?
Because I think I will try to twist it as best as I can. Myles Garrett hitting someone else in the head, you can't really twist that into a positive or any sort of inspiration. You could somehow turn Damar Hamlin's story into an inspiration.
Okay.
And they'll do it.
Okay. I guess I can see that.
That's exactly what it is. They'll turn Damar Hamlin's situation into awareness, into
So if you're gonna tell me that, then go actually do that. Have him go out and campaign and yada, if that's what he wants to do, so on and so forth.
Generally speaking, he's kept a low profile since everything happened. He
seems
to want to stay out of the limelight.
Is he still employed by the Bills?
Yes.
Why doesn't he play?
I can't answer that.
I'm sincerely, does he not play because he wasn't good, as next man up, or because he wasn't feeling well, or we don't know? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. So
yeah, I don't think I could answer that. I don't know.
Was he good?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't feel like I ever heard his name before the incident. So
I knew he went to Pitt. That was about it. But yet again, I don't really pay attention to Buffalo Bills football.
So my follow-up question would be: so there's potential possibility that the reason he's not playing is just because he's not as good as the next man up.
Could possibly be that too.
And we want to give him an award. I'm just saying these are all my points. That's all. I just don't. And then you got Joe Flacco, who anyone and people. You got Steelers fans saying Joe Flacco should be comeback of the year. Of course, the Ravens fans are going to be with Joe Flacco, but you got people of all sorts of different teams saying Joe Flacco should be There's no argument. If we're not talking about Damar Hamlin, it's Joe Flacco. Period. Which is kind of crazy. Who's the next actual argument for that?
I would have to think it'd be someone that came back from injury. Well, that's obvious. Who?
And that right there proves my point. Give it to Joe Flacco. Cut it out.
I mean, realistically, I just took a quick cursory glance at DeMar Hamlin's stats. He didn't start any games this year. He didn't start any games in 2021. 2022 was his breakout year, 13 starts, 15 games, 63 tackles, 28 assists, 54 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks. They're not numbers that you would put Defensive Player of the Year on, but they're not terrible. But I think it's worth pointing out that he had 19 games where he didn't start in 2021 and 2023. Maybe this is just Jay being right. Maybe it was just circumstantial that he wasn't ready necessarily to play this year.
Well, how old is he?
He's
25?
Okay, so he's young. I just, I don't know. I'm not a Bills fan, so I don't watch their roster closely or who they had.
According to some of the messages that I was getting a little bit ago, makes me wonder.
What?
When you posted like 75 billion Buffalo Bills gifts in our fucking group.
Oh, yeah. I am a Bills fan this week. That is correct.
Just this week.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Bills fan in general. I really like Stephon Diggs. Really like the Diggs brothers in general. But I'm not a huge Bills fan. I'm not a huge Josh Allen fan. I like Singletary. That's about it.
What's wrong with Josh Allen?
I think he's a little overrated. But that's just me.
On the plus side, the Madden curse didn't quite bite him. He's in the playoffs, number 2 seed, brought his team back from the brink.
You could
take it all the way to the division win. That's impressive. We haven't seen a lot of success out of Madden cover athletes, and God help me, I do not want to see any Cleveland Browns on that cover anytime soon.
You can make the argument, by the way, that Josh Allen should be the MVP this year. You can make an argument for it.
Sure, you can make an argument that too.
Go for it.
Be too.
You said what, Paul?
Go for it. We've got a few seconds here. Go for it.
Almost 5,000 total yards and almost 50 total touchdowns. And making 2 seed. And him being the reason, to me, he is the reason the Buffalo Bills are where they're at and able to get to the 2 seed.
What the hell?
So that's my argument right there. That's all I really need to say.
I can't argue that point. And looking at his stats, those do look like MVP caliber numbers.
Even though they're going to probably end up giving it to Lamar, which his numbers don't look as good, nowhere near as good as Josh Allen's. They'll probably end up giving it to him. So we shall see.
No, you're absolutely right. His numbers really don't look that much better. In fact, he's not even in the 4,000 yards passing club this year. He does have a slightly higher average on his passes, but if you were giving me a choice between the two of them, without knowing the names in front of me, you could argue Josh Allen.
Yeah, it'd be the guy that I would personally give it to, but again,
no. Fuck Josh Allen. No, psych.
We all know how this will go. But other than that, 13 more NFL games. That's all we have left.
And then baseball season starts.
Then it's NFL draft season. Which we get.
Y'all just don't watch
baseball anymore. Which, real quick, I will want to mention, in terms of the NFL draft, we got, as of now, the first 18 picks plus up. The those picks have been confirmed. We know what they're going to be. So Chicago obviously is on the clock. They are number one. New Wing, or actually,
New Wing.
no. So Washington is number 2, New England number 3, Arizona number 4, and the LA Chargers round out the top 5. And Chicago has the number 9 pick, so they have 2 top 10 picks. So that right there is going to be. Now you run to the question of with Chicago. Is it? Did we witness the final game of Justin Fields as a Chicago Bear? If so, where's he going to end up going? And if that's the case, then Chicago will probably end up going with Caleb Williams. If they decide to stick with Justin Fields, then you're going to run into the option of, do you want to trade back, acquire more assets, and allow a team to trade up to get Caleb Williams? Or do you want to go and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1, which I think regardless or not, one of those 2 picks, whether it's whatever they trade back with number 1 and number 9, one of those 2 picks are going to be a wide receiver. Now, you have an abundance of wide receivers you'll be able to go after. Obviously, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. You have guys like Malik Neighbors from LSU, Roman Dunze from Washington. There's an abundance of guys that you'll be able to look after, but those are 3 guys right then and there that you'll be able to look at.
If you had to predict, gun to your head right now, the number 1 pick for the NFL draft, who do the Chicago Bears take?
If it stays them at number 1?
Yes.
I think they go with Caleb Williams and they let go of Justin Fields.
All right.
I personally think that is the wrong decision. I think Justin Fields has made it a lot harder of a conversation to have, especially over the last couple weeks. I guess I can understand if they wanted to let go of him and they wanted to restart with Caleb Williams, which people like to say is a generational talent, which I feel like personally we throw that term out a little too loosely. To me, he's not. I've watched multiple games on him. Don't get me wrong, he is a very good quarterback, but I don't think that he is as good as the hype is when it comes to him. And I feel like if you go to draft Caleb Williams, if you're Chicago, I think you're going to end up running into a very similar situation over the next couple of years.
So do you think that's contingent on Matt Eberflus coming back to Chicago as their head coach, or do you think he is going to be gone?
I think there's I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up this morning once we decide to finally go to bed, because it's certainly 2:28 a.m. Eastern, to see him possibly go. Although they were 7-10, they did make an improvement over last year. So we'll see. I personally don't think Matt Eberflus is that great of a coach, but that's just me.
Eberflus, what a funny name.
It is fun. That's why I wanted to work it in there.
Real quick, in terms of quarterback talks, real quick, because there are 4 guys who are guaranteed first-round picks, in my opinion. Caleb Williams, Drake May from UNC, Jaden Daniels from LSU, and Michael Penix Jr. From Washington. We will see Michael Penix Jr. play tonight. And then the one wild card that I would throw in there as of now would be J.J. McCarthy. I could see him going and being the Will Levis of this draft class from this past class, where people think he could go in the first, he ends up going early second. I could also see a team going, if he goes out there and balls out against Washington, wins the national title, and if he declares, I would not throw out the idea of him coming back in 2024 and being a part of the 2025 class. I would not throw that out. If he were to come out and declare for this draft, I would see the absolute earliest would be middle of the first, but he would probably be more of a late first, early second guy. And I think, and I'm not saying that that this team should do it, obviously based on their situation, But if you had a team who ran a very similar offense to what Kevin Stefanski runs, a lot of play action, bootleg under center, J.J. McCarthy would be phenomenal in one of them kind of offenses. And I think he can make a very similar rookie year impact to Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy's ass.
Oh my God. We started off the day talking about the NFL Super Wildcard Weekend, and we would be remiss not to make some predictions. We should probably start with Browns-Texans, although it's pretty obvious that the two Cleveland guys are going to pick Cleveland and the one Pittsburgh guy is going to pick Houston out of spite.
Are you sure about that? 100-0 Texans.
I don't bet on much. I would have put the house on that one. And I don't even own my house. I would have bet somebody else's house to make that bet.
No, if you're going to bet what Jeff is going to say, you're going to say, Jeff is going to say, it comes down to whoever has the ball last.
Fair enough.
I can make a guarantee for that game. There will be a winner and there will be a loser.
My God.
And I say that real quick because when I say that if I am attending a regular season game and I say there will be a winner and there is a loser, that's not fully guaranteed because if you know me, I've witnessed 2 ties in my life. I've been to 2 ties in my life. It's already hard enough to say you've been to 1. To be the 2.
You almost have to try at that point.
You almost have
you're just rooting for the referees at that point. Let's also get Pittsburgh at Buffalo out of the way because we know what Jeff's going to pick.
No, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say.
You're not going to homerize yourself and go Pittsburgh all the way?
As much, and you know what? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to say right now, I don't feel confident in that game. Out of the 3 possible teams that we were going to play, Buffalo was the team I wanted to play least. Buffalo is a team that, like I said, Josh Allen is a possible MVP candidate. To me, he would be my MVP of the NFL this year. Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. And their offensive line, they have been very healthy all year. And without TJ Watt, it's not going to be that great with a grade 2 MCL sprain. But what I'll do is I'm going to hype myself up, ask you about give me to Thursday or Friday, Saturday especially, and I'm going to be saying Steelers by 100. It's how it goes. We're fans. That's how we do things. But speaking realistically, I think Buffalo's going to end up coming out with this game.
Okay. Jay, I think you and I are both in agreement on this. Buffalo.
We'll see. Buffalo's kind of lightweight frauds. I don't like Jared Allen, like I just said. And the Steelers know how to play playoff. And if you're going to glance over that fact, then you're not being honest with yourself.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to some games where we might actually make a prediction
I want the Steelers to be done by the first quarter next week. However, I got to look at stuff objectively. And the Bills are arguably right next to the Cowboys, the biggest playoff choke artists in the NFL right now.
And in history.
So I don't just want to. That's how the Steelers win too. That's the other way the Steelers win. Oh yeah, they're done. They're toast. Nobody cares about the Steelers. Then they win 30-10. Buffalo needs to come out, play fundamental football, play their brand of football, play their pace of football, and they should win.
Okay, maybe I should have said it like this. You're rooting for Buffalo on Sunday. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be obvious.
Yeah, that's a stupid question.
I just wanted to establish that. It's what I do here on Double Play CLE.
Oh,
So let's get to some picks that we could actually make objectively, starting with the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs exclusively on Peacock as a cash grab game. Jay, who you got?
Who? Which game?
Miami at Kansas City.
Oh, I don't know. Got to be Kansas City, since Miami's pretty much frauds. Kansas City home, and like I said earlier, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid is all you need.
Well, I'm going to say
Put that on a T-shirt.
for a whole different reason. Say Kansas City because simply, who the hell is Miami going to have to rush the passer? We don't know about Van Ginkel. He might be out for the year. Then they had a special teams guy who was their fourth pass rusher. He got hurt, got carted off. He's looking like he's done. You have Bradley ACL, and then my guy Jalen Phillips. He tore his Achilles on Black Friday. So who the hell are they going to have to rush the passer?
Black Friday.
It was literally the Black Friday game against the Jets.
Thank you, Amazon, for that garbage.
I see what they were trying to do there at the beginning of the year because of Aaron Rodgers, but yeah, about that. But yeah, that I would go with Kansas City there.
All right, so moving on, the Green Bay Packers travel to Jerry World to face the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
Are you going to go, Jay, or do you want me to?
I mean, I don't like the Cowboys. I think they're fakes.
No, I enjoy instigating that one.
However, they're heating up. So we'll see what happens. Who are they? Oh, the Packers. The Packers, however, are just like the Steelers. You cannot count them out in the playoffs. So I say that very confidently because everyone knows I don't like the Cowboys. So I would love to watch the Cowboys lose next week to the Packers, which my son and my children's mom are also Packers fans. So that also works in my favor. But I truly believe that too. Packers are not, you can never count them out. They're just like the Steelers. You can never count them out. So we'll see what happens there. The Cowboys are hot. Classic example of a player on a team that I wish would go somewhere else so I could root for them is CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb's a badass player, but he plays on a crappy team, so I can't root for him.
You can make the
Worth
argument.
pointing out that the Dallas Cowboys are the only team this season to go undefeated at home.
By the way, too, CeeDee Lamb's the guy that should be in the argument, or that he's in the argument for Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
between him, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey.
I think it's hard to argue it not being Tyreek, though.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Christian McCaffrey had like close to, or if not, he did have like 2,000 total scrimmage yards.
Yeah, but Christian McCaffrey's playing two positions.
Well, no, he's just playing one position and is able to do multiple things really well.
He receives and rushes, right?
But he's a running back.
Okay.
He's not playing receiver. He's a running back who can catch.
He's receiving and okay, but you don't think you couldn't rush with Tyreek Hill like they do? Okay.
They don't.
Yes, they do it all the time. They don't do it as consistently as McCaffrey because he's a running back, but they play end arounds with Tyreek all the time.
Doesn't fit my agenda. But yes, I stand tall that Chris McCaffrey had over 2,000 total scrimmage yards. I think they're going to end up giving it to McCaffrey. I wouldn't be mad at any of the three. And the fact that
mad at McCaffrey getting it either. I just think Tyreek doesn't get hurt that Tyreek doesn't get hit that one game. Tyreek doesn't get hurt that one game. He breaks $2,000. 2,000.
Yeah, there was that one point in time where he was looking like he had 1,000 yards by like week 8 or something. It was freaking nuts. But yeah, and also speaking of Tyreek Hill real quick, thank God that everything was all right at his house because he had that fire at his house earlier this week. So luckily everyone was okay. There was no one hurt in that situation either.
He had a fire. Did he get burnt?
No, he was at the facility.
Oh, that sucks because apparently getting burnt in a house fire gives you superpowers on the football field. So
Holy shit.
And we're live.
It's fucking true. What do you want from me? The dude said it himself.
Oh my god.
And I can actually, for the first time in God knows how long, say, and we're live. And we're actually live.
When is the last time? When is the
Been
last
live for
time?
the last two.
When is the last time someone's heard about David Njoku?
Every single Browns game because he's always a big part of the offense.
That is completely untrue. If you're going to say he's always a big part of the offense.
I was going to hope that I was going to let you guys duke that one out, but
Well, let's move on. The next game to pick from: the Los Angeles Rams travel to Detroit to face the Lions. Jay, who you got?
God, seriously? Huh? Who?
Rams and Lions.
I don't know, man. Hopefully the Lions.
That crowd is going to be absolutely roaring. All puns intended there. It is going to be a great atmosphere. Lions fans deserve this.
yeah, if the Steelers aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl, I am 1,000,000% rooting for the Lions. There are two types of Super Bowls that I am rooting for. I'm rooting for the Lions to get in versus I don't really care who. Or I have a dream Super Bowl for you. And this is just pure evilness out of me.
Yeah, he's going to say he wants the Bucks to beat the Browns.
Browns Bucks, so Baker Mayfield would win and beat the Browns. That's the only way I'd be okay with the Browns making it to the Super Bowl.
That's what everyone's talking about.
Because, that's just the pure evilness.
I really don't see that happening. And if it does, I wouldn't even be mad, personally. It'd be just as good as Browns win a Super Bowl for me.
But back to regularly scheduled programming about the Rams Lions here. I think right now I've gone with the home team winning every game. I think I might go off the wall here. I think I might say the Rams are going to end up pulling this one out.
Well, as we know, Jeff, home field does not matter.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Just like how, remember when Jose Ramirez didn't have that great of a year that one year?
You suck.
What am I, Kurt Angle? Well, he was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, my Lord. So you're going with the Rams over the Lions then?
Yeah, screw it. Why not?
All right. And then the final game. Monday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Worth pointing out, in their last 6 games, the Eagles are 1-5. The Bucs are 5-1. What the hell is going to happen in this game?
I would say the biggest reason why for Philadelphia, it seems like their defense has definitely taken a step back. But I don't know, man. I think if you're able to just get pressure on Baker, you're going to be able to force him into making some mistakes. You guys will know that very well. I do think, as much as I'd want to see Tampa Bay win that game, I low-key think Philadelphia is going to end up winning.
What happens if Jalen Hurts gets injured?
I think Philadelphia is going to end up winning too. I don't see Tampa Bay winning that game. As someone that has great stakes in both sides, I don't see Tampa Bay winning that game. Even being at Tampa Bay, which is kind of crazy. I really don't. I don't see a way that they figure that out. I think the Eagles kind of took the last half of the year off, which was a big mistake. And I think if the Eagles win this first game, they're going back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, if they lose, they're not doing anything else. But I think if they win this game, they get back on track and they go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they necessarily win it. we'll see. I really don't think I'm being a homer with that either. I just think they just need to be back on track. I don't know what's going on with them, to be honest. But
as long as in that situation, if Philadelphia was to win, and as long as Green Bay doesn't win, then you're going to get a rematch of the NFC title game, where it's going to be Philadelphia, but this time it'll be at San Francisco.
I don't think San Francisco is going to make it back, man. I still, to this day, don't believe in them. Brock Purdy is an absolute fraud, and he got exposed so bad.
I'm curious to see how many people you have. I feel like every single player we ever mention, they're frauds.
I feel like that's not true. I just got done saying how I felt like the Eagles were going to get back on track, and how I like Baker Mayfield.
Here's how I should have said, outside of the two teams that you root for.
Baker Mayfield's not on a team I root for. You're making bad points here, man.
Nah.
Yes. And it fits my agenda, so I can go with them too.
Your agenda doesn't matter, mine does. So therefore,
what? I looked away for a second.
Brock Purdy had his best receiver out, his best running back out, and they got absolutely stomped into the ground. And he throw like 3 picks, 2-3 picks, or am I tripping?
Hold on a second. Run back what you just said.
They had that game where Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey were both out.
Yeah, take away any quarterback's top 2 weapons.
Oh my God. Okay. So what are you guys doing right now?
What do you mean?
Who the hell is Najee Harris? Who the hell is George?
I already predicted that we're gonna lose.
Huh?
I already predicted. I already said that we're gonna.
You made it to the playoffs. But you made it to the playoffs, and you guys don't have any weapons. And you're the one who's been rooting for Mason.
I'm not sitting
for how long?
And
Mason Rudolph's undefeated as a starter.
You take away. Hell, for an example.
You take away, bro. Oh my God!
Take Kansas City. You take Travis Kelce away and Patrick Mahomes. Great. You take away anyone's top things. They're not going to be that good. Come on, don't be this stupid.
Nick Chubb.
Okay, that's one. And if you want to take away Amari Cooper, yeah, you can make the same damn argument for any quarterback. I'm sorry. You take away any quarterback.
And what is Joe Flacco doing?
They're not going to be that good. Come on.
What is Joe Flacco doing?
They didn't take away Amari Cooper.
They don't have Nick Chubb. Are you kidding me? Oh my God! You just said you took away their best weapons. We literally are missing the best weapon. We are literally no. You're gonna let me talk now.
Okay. Take away the 2 best players on that offense.
You're gonna let me talk now. You're gonna let me talk now.
You took
away. You said take away our best weapons, and they literally took away the best running back in the league. Like seriously, like how is that not comparable? How is that not comparable?
You're literally when I'm saying you take away who I just said could make an argument for offensive player of the year in Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel.
Nick Chubb could be considered offensive player of the year. Nick Chubb could be considered offensive player of the year.
This year?
Nick Chubb couldn't be considered offensive player of the year.
This year? No.
Are you going to respond to my question with actual intelligence? Yeah, no shit, not this year. You didn't fucking play, Jeff.
Okay, well then what the fuck was the point of making that goddamn statement?
Because Nick Chubb is an offensive player. Because Nick Chubb is an offensive player of the year caliber player. And to say otherwise is fucking boneheaded. So we're literally talking about removing the same type of player between Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey. And one quarterback fucking floundered. And another quarterback that's 38, 39 years old that just came off the couch is excelling. What's the difference?
Is better. Christian McCaffrey is better.
Okay, that's a terrible argument. Okay, so let's say Chris McCaffrey 1 and Nick Chubb is 2. Now what, Jeff?
Okay, you still wanted to add on that you took away then his best receiver as well. So, I mean, I'm saying what I'm trying to say
Amari
to you
Cooper
is
not play
you
last
do
week?
that to anybody in the NFL.
Didn't Amari Cooper not play last week?
Did he? I don't remember. Shit. Wait, who did they play last week?
Pretty sure he didn't play last week.
Shit, I don't even remember who they played last week. Who did?
Whoever we played to actually get into the playoffs, I'm pretty sure he didn't play last week.
Oh, it was against the Jets. It was one game. But I think
it's the same with Brock Purdy. That's my whole
He
argument.
did not play against the Jets.
Okay.
That's my whole fucking argument is the one game that Debo and Christian McCaffrey didn't play, Brock Purdy looked like fucking ass. That's literally all I'm saying here.
It seems like, to me, it seems like anyone that's not a Browns or Eagles player is a fraud. So I don't know why we're having this conversation at this point. Carry on, Paul.
You said what? Anyone that's not a Browns player? So I mean, we were literally just talking about Baker, and that was different. I literally, how many times I said last year that TJ Watt was over Myles Garrett? I literally, how many receipts do we have of that?
To me, I have 0.
They're in our group chat, so I don't know how you have 0.
Let me go and look.
While you're doing that, I'm going to bring it back.
Any person that Jeff thinks is the best fucking player in the NFL, if you disagree with that, he calls you stupid and doesn't see how you could possibly think that.
No, that's not true.
That is true. This happened the last time we brought up Brock Purdy, and you got all hot because you think he's freaking MVP of the whole fucking league. The dude's a fraud, and you're mad that I'm calling him out, and you're mad that I'm giving you examples of other quarterbacks who have gone through the same thing.
Oh, it sounds like the same thing when we were having an argument about a home field advantage, but
What about home field advantage?
It sounds like that argument we had last time.
What about it?
Let's not circle back to that one.
Yeah, because there's no point there. Like, what do you mean? What about it? Like, that was literally me being a jackass and you know it.
It's fun getting Jay riled up.
I'm not even, dude, bro. You should know the difference between me being riled up and me not being riled up. I'm not even yelling. I yelled one time when you tried to say Nick Chubb wasn't as good as fucking Christian McCaffrey. Because at that point, you're just being an ass.
Yelling though.
Just like you were yelling first. Like you got all up in the screen like this and was screaming, so I couldn't even
I'm not saying that I wasn't.
You got riled up first.
Yeah, because I had to get myself riled up to get you riled up.
We say that Brock Purdy.
Here.
Jeff's like, I got God, so I'm gonna try to make some excuse to make it seem like I didn't get God. It's okay though.
Yeah.
It's okay though. It's okay.
Okay, let's get to my favorite part of the show. It's my one thing. This is our time where we get to spread some positivity. So let's not try to make this like some sort of backhanded thing, guys. Let's be positive about something that is going to happen in the next 7 days. Start with Jay.
The Steelers are going to fucking be out of the fucking playoffs.
Jesus Christ.
All right, my one thing, 100-0 Texans. No, I'm just kidding.
Where the hell did Woody Hayes show up to this thing?
He came out from the dead.
Oh, my Lord.
I don't know who that is.
Washington, please hang 100 on Michigan. My one thing, everybody knows I'm a huge wrestling fan, and TNA Wrestling is returning to prominence this Saturday. And while, yes, there are going to be football games to watch on Saturday, a lot of us are going to be watching TNA Wrestling's return with Hard to Kill, which is Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're predicting a lot of special events and special occurrences. There's talk of some sort of worlds colliding type thing. It's going to be exciting, and it's great to see a company that has been around for 20 plus years in the wrestling industry reaching back to its roots to find itself once again. I know I'm excited for the show. I hope everybody gets a chance that is a wrestling fan to check it out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I've never been disappointed by an Impact Wrestling show, and I don't think you will be disappointed by the return of TNA Wrestling on Saturday.
Oh, I'll be disappointed. No, here, let me give you my real one my one thing. Obviously, for anyone that doesn't, and this is me going kind of personal for a half sec. For anyone that doesn't know, who may not be watching this for the first time or whatever, I'm currently recovering from an Achilles surgery, which we all know those can be an absolute bitch. So I go to the doctor for the first time in over a month, and my goal is, for those that don't know, when you push your foot back to like stretch when you have the toes and you're trying to reach yourself, normal is 10 degrees. I've been able to get to 1 now, where 2 weeks ago I was at -10. So my goal is to continue to try. I want to get to like maybe 3. You said what?
So you were at -10. Would you have an any foot?
No, it was literally so like when you push your foot back, when you get to where it's straight up and it makes a 90-degree angle, you're at 0. That's neutral. You should be able to push it back a little bit farther. I was literally getting it to like here.
Oh, yeah, it seems about 10
Get
degrees.
it to here, now like this. So now I'm trying to get more like that. So
I'm literally trying to do that as we speak, and it's hurting. So,
Well, you said
it's
only
for
10
me.
degrees. 10 degrees isn't a lot.
But that's what normal is.
Well, no, I'm just saying though, like 10, like you're saying, like it hurts. Like, yeah, 10 degrees isn't a whole lot. It's only a little bit of pull.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm at like barely neutral. So my goal is to continue and trying to go to gain a couple more degrees this week.
That's better than -10.
Well, when I first went to physical therapy, I was at -20. Yes, it was that bad. So, and I was barely walking. So, but yeah, that's my real one thing, and also Texans obliterate the Browns 100-0.
oh, I should have seen that coming, and I should have cut it off when I saw it coming. Oh well. You live, you learn. There's always next time, I suppose. Episode 18 of Double Play CLE is in the book. And with that, what now?
Number Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it's the Peyton Manning episode, I guess.
With that.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a wrap up here, and you're like, Peyton Manning, like where the hell did that come from?
That's what I do.
I'm over here. I haven't said fuck the Yankees today, so I guess
Go Browns.
Go slide that in there. All right. For Jeff and Jay, I'm Paul. This has been Double Play CLE, and we will see you again very soon.